can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill an unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. May good luck be with you wherever you go. May your blessings outnumber the shamrocks that grow. May your days be many and your troubles be few. May you have the hindsight to know where you've been, and the foresight to know where you're going, and the insight to know when you're going too far. May all God's blessings descend upon you, and may peace be within you. Asante ni sana, and may I wish you all a very happy and prosperous Noel and a happy New Year. God bless you all. God bless Kenya. God bless our university. Thank you.
Madam Chancellor, this is now the time for me to present to you 5,709 graduates for the 64th graduation ceremony of today. I will present them in 3 segments. The first segment will be that for honorary degrees. Then we'll present those for Doctor of Philosophy. And the third segment will be those for Master's Fellowships, Postgraduate Diplomas, Bachelor's, and Diplomas. It is now my pleasure to invite the Director, School of Public Health, to present the graduate honorary doctorate. Director, School of Public Health.
The following candidates, whom I have the honor to present to you, satisfied the Honorary Degrees Committee, University Senate, and Council for the award for the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa, for the University of Nairobi. Professor Julia Jambo.
Madam Chancellor, Vijay Watansi, Council Chair Professor Julia Wanjiambo, Council Members, University of Nairobi Council, Vice Chancellor Professor Kiama Sahi, Deputy Vice Chancellors, the representative of CS Education, CAS Zach Kenulia, I want to specifically recognize your presence. Zach Kenulia was my student and workmate because we worked together very well, only that at times we go against what we had agreed on. But without joking, he really assisted me in running the college and helping the university, because if we managed the College of Humanities then and Social Sciences, it was good for the university because we constituted up to today over 50% of the university student population. Our distinguished guests, principals and deputy principals, deans and directors, chairpersons, and the staff, teaching and non-teaching, graduates, students, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'm happy to have been selected to undertake this assignment of presenting this prestigious candidate. And I want to say, Madam Chancellor, and the Council Chair and the VC, if you allow me 1 minute of freedom of thought and expression, because we are at the university world class for that matter, and as I was tasked to read this citation, I was also advised that this has to be read by a professor. And I'm actually a professor of anthropology and sociology. I tried therefore to read the citation and see it through ethnographic lens, and I found it factual, thorough, rich in content, and uniquely motivating. I have nothing else to add. Professor citation on Professor Julia Ojiambo on her conferment of the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa of the University of Nairobi on this day, 11th December 2020. Honorable Professor Julia Ojiambo, PhD, MSc, CBS, EBS, MBS. Biography: Polybius, the Hellenistic historian of olden Greece, who captured in great detail historical account of 264 to 146 BC in his acclaimed book, The Histories, once famously declared that a good general not only sees the way to victory, he also knows when victory is impossible. That, in a nutshell, describes Professor Julia Ojiambo Manjale. Professor Julia Auma Ojiambo was born on 29 November 1936. She was the sixth among 9 children born to the late Reverend Saulo Okello Manjale and the late Mama Teresa Were Okello of Kadiboro village in the then Samia location of Busia district, North Nyanza. Born in a generation that looked down upon the girl child, Reverend Saulo Okello Manjale was determined to make his daughters succeed. In an environment that indulged men's delight in taunting girls, he inculcated in his sons the ideals of respect for women. This training will bear dividends in its later years by bringing forth from this family upstanding men who would be the sisters' greatest defenders. Years later, Professor Julia Ojiambo would meet, find companionship, and fall in love in the name of and the person of a fine gentleman, Kenya's first cardiologist and co-founder of the Kenyan Cardiac Society, the late Professor Hilary Peter Ojiambo. They would later get married and be blessed with 4 children, namely Dr. Josephine Ojiambo, Jack Ojiambo, Teresa Ojiambo, and Sanda Ojiambo. The scion of the family tree would later be extended by the arrival of 6 grandchildren. Professor Julia Ojiambo, no doubt, understands the leadership, not as service to self, but as a privileged commitment to causes that uplift and transform others. Our leadership philosophy is not informed by presumed infallibility of man, but rather by the need to always be realistic, learn and unlearn when one needs to, and to change course when wisdom so dictates. That wisdom could well describe why Professor Onjiambo has been a lady of all seasons, one who has neither lost relevance nor fallen out of favor with the changing powers that be in her 60-odd years of service to the public. Professor Onjiambo's stamina at the helm of leadership, be it in academia, politics, or public service, is wrought in her ability to distinguish the path to victory from the precipice of damnation. Leadership in academia and the knowledge industry. Professor Onjiambo's scholarly pedigree speaks for itself. Her academic journey began in essence in 1959 when she was admitted to pursue a diploma in education at the Royal Technical College, the precursor of the University of Nairobi. In a quick succession, she bagged her postgraduate qualification in applied human nutrition from the Queen Elizabeth College of London University in 1965, then a Master of Science in Public Health Nutrition from Harvard University in 1969, and thereafter a Doctor of Philosophy in Human Nutrition from a program jointly mounted by University of Nairobi and McGill University in 1973. In teaching and research, Professor Onjiambo served with distinction, rising through the ranks from a laboratory assistant in Mulago National Referral Hospital in Kampala to tutorial fellow, assistant lecturer, senior lecturer, and ultimately to professor. In addition to her doctoral thesis on transmethylation activity in the livers of rats fed on a milky yeast barley diet, Professor Julia Onjiambo has written several scientific papers which have been published in various renowned journals, including the East African Medical Journal and the London Journal of Nutrition. She is the author of Trees of Kenya, published by the Kenya Literature Bureau and the Home Science for Schools and Colleges, published by Lake Publishers and Enterprises Limited. This is in addition to several book chapters and reviews. Professor Onjiambo was awarded the UN Ceres Gold Medal for her contribution in the field of human nutrition and advancement of women. The proceeds of the award were applied to the establishment of the goat milk program in Kenya as part of her effort in contributing to the improvement of maternal and child health status of low-income clusters. She is also credited with developing a protein-rich biscuit used in the treatment of kwashiorkor. Leadership in governance and policy development. Professor Onjiambo has wide and long-standing experience in governance and strategic management and has successfully undertaken trainings in corporate governance, information technology, and leadership. Professor Onjiambo is the presiding chairperson of the University of Nairobi Council. She was a key participant in the establishment of regulatory bodies for policies and standards, such as the Kenya Bureau of Standards, KEBS, the Commission for Higher Education and now Commission for University Education, Q, and the Kenya Institute of Special Education, KISE. She has chaired the boards of Pest Control Products, PCB, and the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service, KEFIS, and now on leadership in legislation and advocacy. As a long-standing member of Parliament, Professor Ondiambo has championed and participated in legislation of the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act of 2005, Cotton Development Amendment Bill of 2005, Kenya Nutritionists and Dietitians KNDI Act of 2007, and Supplies Chain Management Act of 2007 that established the Kenya Institute of Supplies Management, KISI. In advocacy, Professor Ondiambo has influenced opinion on development of policies on important matters for people living with disabilities, PWDs, population and development, and on female genital mutilation. Professor Ondiambo's role and duty as a founding trustee of the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya speaks volumes to her natural inclination towards things that matter to the marginalized populations. Professional memberships. Professor Julia Ondiambo is a distinguished member of the following: Kenya Nutritionists and Dietitians Institute, Society for International Development, Kenya Consumer Organization, Kenya Association of University Women, and the Kenyan Girl Guides and Scouts of Kenya. National honors and other awards. Professor Julia Ondiambo is the distinguished recipient of various national honors in recognition of outstanding service to the nation. These are Chief of the Order of Burning Spear CBS 2018, Elder of the Order of the Burning Spear EBS 2016, Moran of the Order of the Burning Spear MBS 2003. In addition, valiant contributions have been recognized within and outside Kenya through the following awards: Kenya Coalition for Action in Nutrition 2012, Pure Natural Woman Award 2011, Food Agricultural Organization FO Series Gold Medal 1976, Citizen of Age of Enlightenment 1976, and Woman of the Year 1975. In academia, she has won numerous awards, accolades, among them the following: winner of the United Nations World Health Organization WHO Fellowship to study at Harvard, USA, and McGill, Canada, where she became the first African fellow at the Harvard Center for International Affairs from 1968 to 1978. Winner of the United Nations Children's Fund Food Agricultural Organization UNICEF FAO Fellowship to pursue postgraduate diploma in nutrition at Queen Elizabeth College, London University. Several Dean's Research Grants in the field of food and nutrition for both undergraduate and postgraduate students at the University of Nairobi and Kenyatta University in Kenya. Beyond academic accolades, Professor Ondiambo has scored a series of firsts, including being the first female doctoral PhD graduate of African descent in Kenya in 1973, the first Doctor of Philosophy holder in the discipline of human nutrition in Kenya, the first female chair of Council of University of Nairobi, the first African Fellow of the Harvard Center for International Affairs, and the first African to set foot at the Royal Technical College, later University of Nairobi, when the university opened the doors to students of all races in 1956 during the opening of the Bandwi. It is worth documenting for posterity that over and above the series of fasts, Professor Julia Ondiambo was the first person to claim Kenyatta University as a university ground. She did this with a Land Rover packed with books from the education block library of University of Nairobi, driving through the current Kenyatta University precincts, then Kenyatta University College, throwing books and risking her life in the process when others feared that mines would go off on the premises which previously housed the Templar barracks. National duties. Professor Onjiambo has had an illustrious career serving the government of Kenya, and she has had the distinct privilege of serving under all four post-independence presidents at their respective administrations. She has served in the cabinet as both Assistant Minister for Housing and Social Services, 1974 to 1979, and Education, 1979 to 1983, where she offered leadership to various high-level negotiation teams. It was during her charge at the Ministry of Education that the popular Nyayo School Milk program was mooted and implemented to provide alternative nutrition to vulnerable children and to encourage uptake of education and increase in enrollment, a concept that she wrote for the late President Moi with the support of United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF. In addition to cabinet duties, Professor Onjiambo also chaired the Presidential Commission on Review of Salary Structure for Ministers and Members of Parliament for the National Assembly of Kenya. Led the government of Kenya delegation to the United Nations International Conference on Women of the World in 1985. Led the Kenyan government delegation to the United Nations International Conference for Ministers of Education held in Colombo, Sri Lanka, 1980. Led the Kenyan delegation to the United Nations World Health Organization on traditional practices to women's health held in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, 1980. Led the government delegation for international women ministers held in Jerusalem, Israel, to prepare the midterm United Nations conference held in Copenhagen, Denmark, 1980. Led the parliamentary delegation to the International Conference on Population and Development held in Colombo, Sri Lanka, 1979. Led the national sports team to all African Games held in Algeria, 1978. Led the delegation to the second World Black and African Festival of Arts and Culture held in Nigeria, 1977. Also led the negotiation and technical teams to the Habitat 1 conference in Vancouver, 1976, and successful sitting of the UN Habitat in Nairobi, Kenya, and also led the government of Kenya delegation to first regional preparatory conference on the UN Habitat, Cairo, Egypt, 1975. Publications. Professor Julia Onjiambo has published 2 books, 4 book chapters, 7 scientific papers, and presented over 100 papers at various fora all over the world on social, political, and economic aspects of gender, development, health, and education of women and youth in Kenya. Some of the publications are as follows. Scientific papers, 2018, Onjiambo J.A. and Ruth Akelola, Implementation of Nutrition and Dietetics Curriculum in Kenya Universities, paper submitted to Columbia University, New York, USA. Onjiambo J.A. and Okeo Omodi David, enhancing universal health coverage through nutrition and dietetics, internship, continuous professional development program and research, Journal of Nutrition and Dietetics, Nairobi, Kenya. JM Wambui, E.G. Karori, J.A. Onjiambo, and PMK Njagi, adaptation and mitigation of options to manage aflatoxin food contamination with a climate change perspective, World Mycotoxin Journal. Kenya Nutritionist and Dietitians Institute Roadmap. Onjiambo J.A. and Mbulida G. Rural Aging in Publications, in the publication Proceedings of African Gerontological Society, Ages International, Nairobi, Kenya. Onjiambo J.A., a background study of the dietary habits of the Abasamia of Busia district, Western Kenya, a preliminary study, 1965 to 1966, nutritional, London XX number 2116, 221, Great Britain. 1966, nutritional problems in Kenya, a report on a seminar on problems of nutrition in developing countries, organized by German Foundation for Development in conjunction with Justus Liebig University, Gießen. Books published 2020 in print, Witness to Transitions, a journey of century of the Africa cultural educational experience. 1996, textbook for schools and colleges on science, late publishers, Kisumu, Kenya. Chapters in books to publications. African Assessment, a decade of family planning progress, in the Draper Food Report Library of Congress Catalog number 84, June 1984. Onjiambo J.A., a chapter in the book In Aging 2000, a challenge to society by Philip Selby, Mark Gelder. Book Trees of Kenya, Kenya Literature Bureau, 1973, Onjiambo J.A., a thesis transmethylation activity in the rivers of rats fed on a yeast barley diet. This was PhD thesis. Professor Julia Auma Onjiambo has distinguished herself as a lady of first and a good general that sees the way to victory. A committed academician for over 50 years, she is undoubtedly a trailblazer for many and whose excellent exploits across her fields of choice make her one of Kenya's most illustrious leaders, pace setters, and deserving of admission to the honorary doctorate degree honoris causa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is in recognition of her distinguished and exemplary career in leadership, which has helped shape the face of leadership and politics in Kenya, that the University of Nairobi Senate and the Council have decided to award Professor Julia Onjiambo the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to present to you Professor Julia Onjiambo. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Julia Onjiambo.
I will now ask Professor Julia Onjiambo to step forward, and the Director, School of Public Health, Director, Graduate School, to lay upon us her academic
Juris Causa, and by my authority and that of the university, give power to read and to do all that appertains to this degree. Congratulations.